are being joined in the studio by Krzysztof Jaworski, Deputy Director, Institute for Security and International Development, as well as by Mr. Maciej Nowicki, President of the Board, Helsinki Foundation for Human Rights. Good evening, delighted to have you with us.
Good evening.
Mr. Jaworski, can you help us understand the current situation, as the Polish-Belarusian situation, that border tension is not a very new phenomenon, but recently we've seen these type of illegal crossing attempt creeping up once again. What is the incentive and what's happening right now? Why are people trying to attempt these illegal crossings again?
So, to start with, we are talking about this issue again today because on Saturday, 22nd of June, there were next time Germany turned back two groups of migrants back to the Poland, and it is happening more and more times, even if there were some government level consultations before, and even if Germany Minister of Interior Nancy Faeser expressed her sincere apologies for the previous events and promised that this will be the last time. However, now this happens again, and that's why we are talking about this today.
Right, Germany is one, but also we have this issue with Belarus, of course. And let me ask Mr. Nowicki about the humanitarian situation, because, well, there's a little attention given, I would say, right now in the press coverage towards the humanitarian situation of some of these refugees or people who are illegal migrants who are trying to get into our country. So, you know, how would you see that? Is there a problem, A? And if yes, then to what extent it is affecting people?
Of course, it is a problem, as it has been since the beginning of the crisis. And it's not getting easier. On the contrary, the so-called buffer zone made it more difficult not only to monitor the situation for independent monitors, such as the press or international or NGOs, but first of all to grant humanitarian assistance. So we receive, and many groups and NGOs receive, dramatic appeals for help. This is one. And I would like to stress that the circumstances of the work of those groups, and also the circumstances of the security of the people who are crossing the border, and also of the Polish border guards and soldiers, have worsened significantly because of this enhancement, actually, to use firearms. And many people on the ground are telling us that when you're there, close to the border, you can hear firearms being shot constantly, all the time. So in terms of geopolicy, but in terms of the very safety of the people, and also of the legal safety of the border guards and of the Polish soldiers, the situation has worsened.
Right, but at the same time, I mean, some of these people, right, the migrants, are aggressive themselves. Of course, we had this tragic event with Polish border guard dying. So how to address that situation?
Well, first of all, of course, there's a huge tragedy of the Polish soldier who has been killed on the border, but we don't think that hastily prepared changes in the law that are not really constitutional and that not in compliance with international standards, that have been heavily criticized by, for example, experts on the criminal law, helped. Now, of course, this law is being proceeded only. It has not been enacted, but the very situation and also the public appearances of the people in the Polish government and what they say made this actually, I would say, atmosphere of enhancement to use firearms without much concern. And I would like to stress that this does not help. This does not help. It's not really that this way the security and safety of anybody on the Polish-Belarusian border is gonna be bettered.
Mr. Jaworski, I would like to go to the point that you made earlier about the situation between Poland and Germany. As we, well, find it quite confusing. Isn't protecting the entire European border in the mutual interest of the entire Union, as Poland is bearing the front with Belarus already kind of facing these migrant waves coming in? What made Germany pull a decision, and is there some sort of incoherence when it comes to kind of bouncing these migrants around within the European borders?
I must agree with the thesis in your last question, because I think that there is this incoherence and we should focus on this common interest as it comes to border protection and security. And I think that the priority should be to make the Polish-Belarusian border closed and closed effectively, so there won't be more immigrants coming in, and that's why, as there are already a lot of people who came into Poland, they are trying to get into Germany.
Right.
Yeah, that's why Germany.
That's why they're there in the first place, right?
That's right. So I believe that there will be much better for Germany not to have some incidents on our border. Of course, it's about 300 people. It's not so much. However, it's even not so much. It's too much, and there should be none of these incidents. And I think that Polish government should negotiate, should talk to to our German counterpart, and make them contribute to our border security, because that's where the problem starts.
Mr. Jaworski, let me follow up on that. What are the numbers of people getting in? Because we talk about attempts, right? About failed attempts mostly. So what about the successful ones?
Okay, so as it comes to exact number, I won't give them, because I don't have any specific numbers as it comes to some numbers that are in public informations. However, as we can see, there are some significant amount of migrants coming into Poland by Polish-Belarusian border. And of course, I believe, as Mr. Nowicki said, it is very important to go along the humanitarian rules. It's not about being harsh or being, making something violent for because I think it is important to maintain our soft power and maintain our good relations with our European counterparts to manage this border crisis with, from the one hand, not breaking humanitarian rules, but on the other hand, we should look for effective ways of closing this border. And I think one of these proposed ways of doing it is program of national deterrence and defense, East Shield, which will be held during the next 4 years, and we should wait for effects. Maybe this will be the way to, from the one hand, protect our security, and from the other hand, to protect our values and not to break humanitarian rules.
Right. So I would like to bounce that to Mr. Nowicki. Like we're talking about, deterrence is of the utmost importance. We see the government pursuing the East Shield project, as well as establishing a buffer zone between Poland and Belarus. How effective do you think that will be going forward? And when it comes to the balance that you mentioned earlier about keeping kind of things done in a humanitarian way, but still keeping enough deterrence so that these migrants know not to be tempted to cross the border, how do you see that balance being juggled?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, it's a complex question. But first of all, the buffer zone has been tried before, as we all know, by the former parliamentary majority, and to no avail. So we can be skeptical towards those kind of solutions, though it is too early to say, honestly speaking, what the results are. We can hear from the government that it already works. For example, the number of illegal traffickers being caught has dropped down, but it's actually since the beginning of the year, and it's probably connected with the fact that in winter there is less border crossings because of the weather conditions. So it's too early to say. But deterrence is also another thing that, of course, is part of the security solutions that are being assumed. But everybody acknowledges that, government included, that actually this is a route that has been opened artificially by the orchestrated actions of the Belarusian and Russian regimes. So in this way, deterrence probably won't actually work on the affect so much or too much the number of people who try to cross illegally the border. Also, the issue is whether actually what kind of danger is attached to this kind of hybrid attacks on the Polish territory, because it's actually and whether the shield would really help in this regard. This is not a land invasion, in fact, and if there would be an escalation and actually more hostile even actions from the two regimes that I've mentioned, that probably look differently. So whether this would help, I'm not so sure. And I'd like to raise once again that I have said already here a couple of times that actually pushbacks don't seem to be super safe, because we do not, as a country, register the people, and we do not know who they are. And they will cross again, as we know from experience, because when they are pushed back, they cross again, and we don't know who they are. So if they are really dangerous, and we might believe that some of them are dangerous, our services do not work. They do not check them. So I have got a lot of doubts, but I'm also not a security expert. What I would like to stress once again is that there is a huge danger also from the geopolitical point of view of escalation, because of this too lenient approach to the use of deadly weapons by Polish police, military, and border guards. This is one. And also the rule of law concerns. We are re-establishing the rule of law, and so-called buffer zone is established on the very same legal basis as it has been before. And before, the politicians, the Human Rights Commissioner, and the NGOs criticized the basis of the law being introduced as unconstitutional. Nothing has changed. But now we are re-establishing the rule of law, so we should try to do whatever we do in accordance with the law.
It is certainly a very complex issue. Right.
Right, it is very complicated. And again, it goes back to kind of juggling this balance between deterring the migrants from coming in and not violating humanitarian rights, of course, not escalating the situation. So that leaves us with this question, Mr. Jaworski. How do you see this going forward? Are there any policies that you would like to see personally that might be able to strike that balance?
So let me give one final point. I think that we should at first ask why Belarus and Russia are doing this. They want to make some internal conflicts in Poland, in Europe, internal conflicts, disruption, because they want us being weaker, being divided. So I think that we should focus on not making it a very loud conflict, but rather finding these common points and protecting both values, because it's both our security and our values as humanitarian rules. Both are important, and what we should do is we should cooperate, not fighting among ourselves.
Right, definitely so. And before we know it, with a more united front, maybe the situation will be able to be alleviated. Thank you so much, guys.
Krzysztof Jaworski i Maciej Nowicki were our guests. Thank you, sirs.